Oh, brainiacs, Shaman, wherever you're at in this world, on this ball of yarn we call dirt, it's Gaia. What's up? Hope everybody's doing well. I truly do. Today is going to be interesting. It's going to be an interesting night. I don't know really what's going to happen on Friday, so I got Adam running sidekick with me again tonight. We're gonna talk to Miss Michelle Espinosa. I call her Shaman, and we're gonna go over what exactly a psychopomp is, because it's really the way I know it is I know it as a medicine man, medicine woman. That would be my Indian culture heritage. I never knew what the hell psychopomp was until I met Michelle. I truly never did. So a psychopomp is a guide whose primary function is to escort souls into the afterlife, but they can also serve as a guide through various transitions of one's life. So tonight's going to be really interesting. We're going to go over, and don't know if anybody knows her story, but trying to become shaman is not an easy thing. And if I can pry that out of her, we're gonna talk about that too, because that's that was not an easy road to hoe. Don't go anywhere, Brainiac. Buckle up. Welcome to Wednesday night here on the Matrix of Minds. Share this broadcast, share this podcast, Brainiac. Let's go.
What do you say, Brainiacs? You guys ready? It's time. It's showtime, brains. That's right. It's Matrix time. And it's go time. Welcome aboard, everybody. Let's go! Talk about ufology, conspiracy, controversy, and anything and everything that we can get into tonight.
Mr. Eddie Cassie says, crank that bitch up and rip off the dial, man.
Yeah, baby. Yeah.
That's all she's got, Scotty.
Crank it up, bring it. Yeah. It's definitely your show. Show and we appreciate you being here. Buckle up, everybody. Welcome aboard.
That right there, Brainiacs. It's absolutely funny and fun to get and have interaction with you guys. And he's like, crank that bitch up right now. Turn it up, man. Turn it up. I'm like, yeah, man. Crank it up, Andy Cassidy. He is so damn funny. Oh, shit. Brainiacs, what's up? I hope you guys are doing well. I'm joined by my friend, Mr. Adam Delnar. And Miss Michelle Espinosa is on the phone lines. Miss Michelle, say hello, everybody. Darling, say hello, darling.
Hey, everybody.
Shortest straw has
hey,
been
everybody.
What's up, Michelle? How you doing? You doing all right?
I'm doing fine.
Yeah, I'm feeling a little bit
fine.
Under the weather and feel like shit. Thank you, Chad. Thank you, Chad Allen. Man, I would not be feeling like this had he said, stay home. I don't feel good. But you got those people. And Adam down here, he's like Larry. He could live in a shit house for 6 months, 8 months, come out, hey, what's up, everybody? I'm good, right? What's up? And half the community be dead.
That's what happens. That's what happens whenever you get all of the vaccines.
Yeah. One day he'll just fall over, and we'll say, that's just what happens when you get all of the vaccines. Oh, shit. Anyway, tonight's going to be fun. Tonight's definitely going to be fun. I did not know what the hell Psychopomp was, Michelle, until I met you. I knew what you guys do and did as, like, shamanic practicing via, like, the medicine man, medicine woman. You know what I'm saying? You guys are the ones that, like, guide everybody, walk them through, astral journeys, ayahuasca journeys, things like that. And that's...
Ooh, I want to do that.
Yeah, that's good stuff right there, man. So question. Let's go back. Let's go back to your very, very beginning. What the hell made you want to take this trip? What the hell made you want to do this? she's just laughing. She's like...
I didn't want to do this. I didn't want to do any of this, really.
All right, smart ass. Let me rephrase this question. What led you down the road? What guided you down the road to where you're at now? Because you helped me.
There was a couple of situations. There was a couple of situations that took place. It took like a couple of years getting me on the map, so to speak, of the direction I was going to go. That, before I was really awakened and put in the direction and start doing the work. I had an incident before. What really got me going was a robbery. But before the robbery, there was a situation where I will tell people as a shaman now, and because it happens to be all the time, and I will tell people as from a shaman, if you're not getting the messages that the universe, God, creator, whatever you want to see it as, is trying to help you with in a spiritual realm, or like some people listen, or follow like angel numbers and stuff. If you're not getting the messages that are given to you from a Native American and a shaman perspective, we also follow a lot to do with animal medicine, like totems and stuff. And I've always said, if you're not getting the messages, they'll find a way to cross into the physical reality. And I when I first really was getting started, like waking up to be into this, looking into all of this metaphysical, all of this spiritual, all of the, stuff. I believed in it all of my life, but I happened to be having a phone call on vacation from a working environment that was calling me, because I was a manager at the commissary, and I had some problems that was taking place at like 3 a.m. in the commissary. And so to be quiet, we were on vacation in West Virginia, and I walked outside in the middle of the night so nobody was hearing me. And I'm on the phone, and when I got off the phone, I turned around and there was a bear staring at me.
Like an actual bear?
Now, earlier in the a real bear.
Oh, that's crazy.
I don't think I ever told you this, Matt. We, like I said, I was on a phone call trying to deal with something from work, and I'd been on the phone for probably about a half hour. We'd been cooking out that night, so the smell was in the air. We had the smell in the air from barbecuing and stuff, and when it's like 3 o'clock in the morning, and I turn around and I'm getting ready to go back into the house, and there's a barbecue on the other side of the house. So I'm like at one side of the house. It's like at the other side where the barbecue was, and it was just standing there and staring at me. And literally I had the decision, either I go towards it to go into the house, or what? What else am I going to do? Run? I'm like, what am I going to do? You know, I'm gonna run. I'm gonna get attacked. I'm gonna be killed. I'm gonna be eaten.
Yeah, die.
And I took the ballsy move. That's the thing. I took the ballsy move, and I walked towards the bear, and I went right in the house.
Oh shit. Okay.
And the bear just stared at me as I walked past it.
Yeah.
I woke everybody up in the house as soon as I got in. But that was the beginning. Then when I really got set on my path, because I was starting to come into, you know, like totem medicine and everything along that line, and my father was Native American. So
Dun, dun,
when
dun.
I started to awaken and deal with spirit and so forth, I you know, started looking at all these different avenues. But it wasn't until I got robbed at gunpoint that I really got grim. Everybody who's followed me for any amount of time knows that I deal with the death gods, but my main guide or sidekick, or I should say I'm his sidekick, is Grim. I deal with the Grim Reaper on a daily basis. And that has a lot to do with where my shamanism was going to go after I grew into what I am.
I think that it's in the blood. It's got to be in the ancestral blood, Michelle. I personally don't have it.
I completely believe in it.
I don't want nothing to do with it. Again, you know this. I've come into contact with some spirit that not necessarily was all that nice, but nevertheless, I dealt with it the way I just dealt with it. I'm not going to look for a fight, right? And I definitely don't want to say, hey, Mike, hey, Teresa, hey, everybody, I'm a shaman and I can kick their ass. I'm not saying anything like that. You know what I'm saying? You, however, you. Besides that, I've got over here on my stand. I've got some damn incense burning just in case some weird shit starts to like happen tonight. I'm just saying. So, what does it take? What did it take for you to go through and to become a shaman? Because, or are you leading up to that? Because that's a fucking, and that is right there. It is an interesting story.
The truth is, as I was waking up, like I said, it mainly when I got robbed at gunpoint, it's like everything that was on the psychic level just turned on and flooded in. And when I was young, I had some of these energies and gifts and so forth, but as time moves on, you kind of just forget about it. I mean, you get involved in life, you kind of turn that off like as if it was imaginary friends. And you grow up, you get involved in the world. But it wasn't until I got robbed at gunpoint when, you know, it was like everything psychically related, like just came back at full force. And I was scared out of my mind at first. And that's why I'm so outgoing and blunt about it now, because I know how difficult it was for me when I first re-woke up. Not to mention, I had the Grim Reaper following me around for about a year and a half. That was freaking me out at first, too. I kept seeing other shamans, and if you've ever looked at, you know, different cultures of shamans, they don't always just look like, you know, like the Native American or anything like that. Sometimes they have, you know, scary masks. Sometimes they have sacks over their head and just other really weird shit. So all of a sudden when I woke up, I'm just starting seeing these things along with other things because I woke up from a very negative perspective.
Mm-hmm.
So I had to learn how to cope with that. Huh?
Do you mean you woke up from sleeping or like woke up as in like spiritually wise?
Become awake and started seeing and sensing and feeling, and all of that psychic activity started kicking in. That's what I mean by awake. No. And when that all started, none of that was fun. None of that was good or anything I'd really was, you know, like, I wasn't like down with it. I've never been the type of person who wants to go to the haunted houses and stuff. But it wasn't because I didn't realize how sensitive I am to picking up that stuff. And as I started having Grimm being around more and more and more, he started teaching me and showing me that, you know, it was okay. And as I started learning how to get into the metaphysical, the understanding the crystals, the incense, seeing spirits, dealing with spirits, feeling energies, picking it up off of people, and all of that, that's how I started going down my shaman path. I originally started going into schooling for shamanism because as I started doing more research, I thought Psychopomp would be such a great thing. Same with soul retrieval. I was like, so soul retrieval is kind of like, it's a piece of the essence of the soul that runs away actually to protect you from a trauma you're not able to handle. And I was like, so this is bringing back oneness, bringing back healing. And I was like, this is going to be such a great thing, you know, to get into this and to truly go through this. And as I started to grow, I realized how distasteful this planet really is.
So, like, what do you mean you
Because
started
of
drinking
just
and all of that stuff? Like, where did, like, did you just, like, it was just, like, kind of ideas? Or, like, this Grimm guy was showing you everything? Or, like, how was he showing you everything?
This Grimm guy, that's funny. That was cute, Adam.
I love that.
Like,
I love that. I love that. Well, like I said, Grimm is Grim Reaper. I mean, he would followed me around for the longest time and wouldn't speak. And then wouldn't speak or really talk. It just kind of overlooked everything until I started getting comfortable with it. And now it's kind of like, telepathic? It's not like he talks. I just know what he wants me to do. And I understand on that level. It's just the way that it is. I can't explain it better than that. I mean, every once in a while, I will actually channel him. And when I do, my voice changes and really echoes and gets very deep. But typically, he was showing me, you know, the spiritual understanding of what I didn't understand. I picked up spirit all of my life. Now I live close to a hospital. So, I mean, I have spirits. My normal household is like a casting call for the Addams Family. I have so many spirits that just come walking in and out, animals and everything, that are just always here. And like I said, finding the dead is one thing. Not everybody crosses over and goes straight into the light like a lot of people like to think. A lot of people like to think, well, they died, they passed on, they moved on and went to heaven. That's not always the case. In fact, often it's not the case. And the soul loss was something that he was showing me with, you know, the people that would come into my life. Because, like, to this day, if somebody, I could be in the strangest place. I could be in a restaurant, and all of a sudden, Grimm will be standing behind him, and it just looks at me and is kind of like, this is your problem now. It's not become my problem yet, and he's gone.
and you gotta, like, kill him?
And so I have to turn the medium on and start talking to people out of nowhere.
Oh, that's at least a good thing. Like, okay, so, like, you just start talking to them and telling them what? Like, hey, what's up?
It depends on the situation. Sometimes I will bluntly just get some. It depends on the situation of what it is. There are times that I've just turned to people. Perfect example. When I was first coming into the mediumship and learning how to walk my walk and to come into becoming what I am, because a big part of that is accepting and allowing it to take place. We get the idea in our head, like when I was going through classes and stuff through shamanism, a lot of times they will tell people in their training, you know, like, I want you to go do this kind of exercise or that kind of exercise. And at this point, you're getting to where you're starting to, are you doubting? Are you questioning that you're crazy? Are you questioning that you're really dealing with spirit, or are you making it up?
Hi,
And
Mom.
that's right there. That right there is the point. Because if you can't get to where you're like, absolutely 100%, I know I'm dealing with spirit, this is no longer something in my mind, I have moved to that point, then you can't move forward if you can't get to that point. If you're still in that logical level of going, I need it to make sense, then that's where you might as well hang that up. Because in order for us to move forward and actually be good at what we do, we have to have confidence in what we do. And if we doubt it, then we're going to be screwing people up left and right. We'll be screwing up what we're telling people. So my situation could be very simple. Like, I'm walking down the aisle at the commissary where I used to work, and I have this person in spirit that's standing there, and is not going to leave me alone until I deal with whoever is in that aisle working. And finally, I just turned around and I was like, okay, I'm sorry, but there's two of you here in this aisle, and who had the sister presence that drowned? And the one guy gets up and he looks at me and he's like, what? And I was like, it could be a sister, and maybe a presence of a friend that's like a sister. I don't know, but I'm not going to stop drowning until I speak to you.
Oh, shit.
Because she has something I need to tell you.
Damn. That's
And
wild.
that's what I mean.
Like,
Good.
okay. Like,
And I
so
felt
you
it-
actually feel like you're drowning?
You just
Like,
killed your
or-
screen, Adam.
Oh, yeah.
What?
You just killed your
Yeah,
screen,
I mean,
bro.
I made the mistake too. Like, everybody loves, what is it, Salem, Massachusetts, because of the witch hangings.
Mm-hmm.
Salem makes so much money off of the witches and stuff because of the witch hangings, and the one guy that was pressed to death from the witch trials. I cannot even stand on that street. Because as soon as I'm on that street, I am hanging. I can't breathe because of how much pent up energy is there.
No,
This is why I don't like to go to haunted houses and stuff, because come to find out, being a psychopomp and stuff like that, I have to be prepared. I have to be prepared and ready for that, because I'm a cleaner. I'm like, when you watch the TV shows, and like you see the shows of so-and-so, you know, they've got some psychic that comes into the place and they're trying to find out if there's, you know, energy there or whatever. And then they have people who go in and do the cleansing and removing of spirit. That's what I am. And I don't find it fun. I don't find it easy. It is a job. Let me tell you, Psychopomp, when you're helping people cross over who are dead, you're not going to get paid for it. This is something that comes directly from having enough unconditional love, heart, and soul. It's not like this is something that is fully of enjoyment. You have so much pain and love that goes into this, and you have to have such a deep realm of understanding, so much more than what you see in this three-dimensional world. And that's what I said. I mean, I have clients that I deal with, but I will put it bluntly, for anybody who works in Psychopomp or in spirit and helping them cross over and helping them find healing, it's not like we're getting paid for that. It's what you do because it's what needs to be done.
Michelle, let me hang tight real quick. Miss Teresa dropped a comment in here. She's like, I take a little bit here and there, like from Shaman, Gnostics, and so forth. What vibes or resonates with her and devises her makes her own path. That's what makes her own path. So some people don't like it. Some people whatever they jive with it. But nevertheless, Teresa's like, that's just who she is. She doesn't give a shit. She
Okay.
gets it. She gets it.
Oh no, and I agree. I have a friend who's a medium who also deals with Grimm, and he's a friend of mine, and he loves going in and doing that kind of. He absolutely, it gives him like a high to go in and do the cleansing and stuff, and whatnot along that line. I'm gonna do it. I will do it, but it's not like I get. It's not like it's my high. It doesn't make me invigoratingly, vibrationally higher energy because I also connect with so much of the negative, so much of the lower stuff. Like I said, soul loss has to do with incompleteness. This is another thing that goes on, not just Psychopomp. And I work so hard with people for healing in the here and now because I don't want to have to work with you on the other side when we could fix you now.
Why is it called
and get you healed?
Like why?
It is a Greek term.
Oh.
It is a Greek term, I believe, and I don't know, but I don't know exactly I just know the meaning of Psychopomp, and it is guiding souls to the other side.
Oh.
But usually Psychopomp is looked at as like our guides are guiding them. There's more that goes on with Psychopomp than it's not like I just meet somebody who's dead or who didn't cross over, be like, hey, what's up? It's not like that. It's they're wandering souls that don't understand why they're here. Sometimes they completely understand, and they're holding on to egotistical human emotions that are keeping them here. Sometimes it's because there was a 365 car pileup, or something, and it was completely unpredictable, and they don't even know they're dead. Sometimes there's a million different reasons why somebody didn't cross over. Sometimes it's because they don't believe they deserve to cross over.
I do. I definitely want the fuck out of here. I do. Because this place absolutely sucks. People suck, dude. They're so mean to one another. Like I said, like I told you today, people are mean to one another. It really, really bothers me.
They've been being like that for a long time. So like why like so there's been like, even though we do have like horrific deaths and all of that stuff nowadays, I mean, they had a lot more horrific deaths like back in the past. So like where like how do you know like you're actually like helping these people or anything like that? Like how is that like something that you feel confident enough that you're like making the right decisions and all of that whenever it comes to that?
First off, you have to go into the situation with unconditional love. You have to go in with unconditional love. And this is where a lot of people do have a problem when they're mediums and so forth, because their ego will get in the way. And I'm going to be blunt. Sometimes there are some nasty motherfuckers who do not deserve it from my ego perspective. From my human ego perspective, I'm like, you don't deserve peace, because that's my human ego. Knowing that this energy has been such a terrible thing. But the main reason why you want them to cross over is because if they stay in purgatory, if they stay in the parallel energy, if they stay in what I call the stain, eventually they're going to possess someone. And you don't want that.
Oh.
So the point is, you have to help them heal and move into the light back where they belong. Now, like I was saying, I don't go into the light. I work with them as long as I can with my own guide and with them. I mean, I've had some Psychopomps that I've had to work on that's taken a year and a half because they weren't ready. They weren't ready to go in. They
Like,
hold
you
on
have
to
help
like they
themselves,
hold on to this stuff.
do you help them like morally or like whatever, like kind of come to terms with everything?
Exactly. This is helping them to forgive themselves, love themselves, accept themselves. Sometimes they've left the world knowing that they were, I'm sorry, but a piece of shit, and now they don't believe that they deserve to move on. The point is whether they deserve it or not, that's not my job. My job is to help them get the healing they need, because I don't want them eventually possessing someone else. If something stays in the parallel for too long, imagine, okay, here, Adam, use this idea. Imagine that all of the world is happening around you, but nobody sees you. You don't ever get to see any, I mean, you see everybody, but nobody sees you. Nobody talks to you. No, you don't get to have food. You're just stuck watching the world go on. There's no food, there's no sex, there's no touching, there's no enjoyment other than watching everybody else's life. How long would you continue to follow what originally started out as people who you loved around, looking after them, before you're like, dude, I want that piece of pizza? You know, I mean, how long can you stay in the parallel without going completely crazy when nothing and nobody is talking to you? And then you have somebody like me who shows up with the other guides and starts going, there's a better place. I don't want them to get to that position where they try to possess somebody, because that's a whole different level of work that I got to do.
So like they can just like jump into a body or something like that, or like why wouldn't they do that?
That's
from
why
the
I was
get-go?
saying
Like,
the
do they
way
have to,
that
like, build up
the way
energy
that
or
we
something like
see
that?
this. Well, I mean, there's a couple different reasons. I mean, when you're a newborn child, you first have to learn to crawl and then to walk. It's the same thing in spirit. If you've died, you may not know you're dead if it was a bad situation that happened. Or maybe you died, but you didn't get greeted by the family members. There was no light. You can't find the light. I mean, I have people, like I said, who will wander out from the hospital when they've died, and I start seeing their energy. I start seeing them as an apparition. And or I've had animals that I don't know what it is, but I will have animals. If I know somebody and they have an animal, 90% of the time the animal pops up in front of me before it crosses. To this day, most of the time I just feel spirit kind of like move through me, and that's how it's moving on. I have nothing to do with it. It's just they found something that opens to a portal because of my guides. But
Well,
then there are the
who do
ones
they talk
who
to
are
you?
stuck in their shit and won't move on. Huh?
How do you know they, or how do they know to talk to you? Like, do you have like?
Because for one, a lot of times, like I said, a lot of times they'll notice that I notice them. They're used to being on a realm that's a different dimensional energy. I tell people all the time, I'm like, you think that air in front of you is empty? It's not empty. I'm like, you'd be surprised how many entities or energies are around, period, that you do not see. I have people asking me about, you know, like you're saying, you know, how do they know that I'm there? Because I see them, and I got busted seeing them, for one. Sometimes I approach them, and I'm like, why are you here? What's going on? You know, or you'll find ones that are just pissed off because they've been here for a long time. And those are the ones that start the poltergeist.
Huh.
There are so many different reasons in it.
I'd like to share a comment here from Rose. She says, how would you stop these entities from jumping into you while you're working with them, Michelle?
I was trained Okay, let me give you an idea. What Grim would do, Grim's taught me several times and so many of the other guides. You've heard of sleep paralysis, right?
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people have heard of sleep paralysis.
Yeah.
According to science, I don't have it completely right, but according to science, it has something to do with when you're sleeping and you're waking up and all of your stuff hasn't reconnected. Like the way the brain is working versus awake versus asleep versus dreaming versus being awake. Something to do with that is what a lot of the science says. I don't know all the science. I'm not into the science.
Michelle,
a lot of people, though.
You know what neuropathy is, right? You know what neuropathy is? Of the nerves of neuropathy. What you're referring to is the motor skill of the being. Okay? And it's called motoropathy. It's whenever it goes it's called a paralysis state. The motor skills of the vessel or the being just cease to like wake up yet. Just wanted to give you.
And that's what I'm saying is I understand that perspective. Scientifically, this is what they tell you with sleep paralysis. Now, people who are on the spiritual energy will often use will speak of it more of like old hag syndrome, or they'll call it sleep paralysis as well. And what it is they can't move their arm, they can't move their leg, their head, they can't move, whatever.
Right.
And a lot of them will be freaked out. And you've heard many stories where they think some demons in the room attacking them. So when I was being trained how to merge with a spirit, this is the difference between a lot of you who follow the show knows Matt has channeled the Pleiades. You've even seen a show where Matt was channeling the Pleiades, some of you. Matt will just check out. He just checks out and you're talking to the Pleiades. He'll admit this, right?
Who is that? He channels who?
I'm sorry.
It's called the Pleiadians.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh.
Now,
wait, where is this?
The reason I said that is because people have heard of this and merging, or because that's what a channel is. It's a merge. It's the two of you becoming one. And when you or like with Rob Gothier, he'll be channeling Trev or Trev or whichever one of his name is. But a lot of times with mediums, when they channel, they kind of like check out. They don't hang out. They allow the energy completely to come in and take over. Now, with what I do, Grim has instructed me I am never to check out. I am always to hang out in the background so that I know exactly what is going on. If I don't like what's going on, or a spirit that came in, or a deceiving spirit, he's taught me to boot them out. Now, the way he taught me to boot them out is through the idea of this sleep paralysis. And what I mean by that is that's the idea most of you would understand. He would hold me, take the energy of me, hold my legs, and be like, okay, they belong to me now. And like, I can't move my legs. And he's like, I need you to learn how to get your power back. I need you to learn how to tell me no. I need you to learn how to not allow this to happen. And this is how it started. I mean, like, take the actual function of my arm away, to where I can't move it. I have no control over it. And this is a big part of that merging process. My guide is teaching me how to go, if something's coming in that ultimately would be harmful, that would do something like this to you, I need to know that you can boot that shit out. And I've had it. But the first thing you have to learn is don't panic. Because if you panic, like many people say with sleep paralysis, because you can't move your legs, you can't move your neck, you can't move something, you go into a panic. And that's just like we were saying on the other night. You go into panic, you get into fear, you're feeding that negative energy. And this is exactly why Grimm taught it to me this way. He's like, I need you to not panic. I need you to, take control of your mind. Nothing has power over me unless I say it. And I will sit there and have to be like, okay, this is not happening. You don't have that kind of control. I have to talk myself back into that and get my energy back. But this is part of how you boot something out that gets in. But most people aren't trained to do that. So when I go in to deal with a demonic energy, I'm already on alert of, nah, you ain't getting in here. I will kick you with energy right out.
Now, have you ever seen the movie The Exorcist, right?
Yeah.
I still, till this day, do not even like, I can't stand that movie. I don't like it. And if for some reason I come out of a dream state and I feel that negativity, I feel that fear, for some odd reason, I would love to know why, but I don't know why, but this fear takes on that face. The Linda Blair face, right? Well, if it comes at me like that, usually I will picture in my own mind a sword, like literally a sword, like of light, or just a sword, and I'll take its head right off its body. I don't fuck around like that.
Yeah.
He's like, I don't fuck around like that.
But that's what you have to do.
I don't, bro. I don't. I don't even question it.
Each one of us are different. Each one of us are different about how we come into our power. Just like you said, you see the Linda Blair face, but that's something that's in your brain. That's something that is a memory. That also, like if your guides, so to speak, was trying to tell you, yo, this is some really bad stuff, they would already know that is your cue. Boom, let's show them the Linda Blair face. Every person has their own different dictionary. Every person has their own different things that connect them with energy. What I think of roses may not be what you think of roses. What I think of, this smell may not be what you think of this smell. There are different reasons that we all interpret things in different ways. Just because you're a medium doesn't mean that we're all going to come to the same answer in the same way. And like I said, for me, I had to know how to boot them out in that perspective. For you, you also become that wizard energy and your other, when you go astral traveling, and you're more in that prominent power. So this is why, of course, you just pick up that cord.
Well, I don't.
Because that's the way your mind knows how to do it.
That is if it comes.
There's no right or wrong way.
What?
I want to get.
Well, listen, it's not that I do that as a reflex. Usually, again, if I'm coming out of a dream state, right, or you're dreaming, and I come back to physicality, and motor skills are there, motor apathy is there, meaning I'm not in paralysis state. I can move, and if I roll over, and I feel, you can just sense it, right? So the moment you sense it, and if it does take on a face, that is whenever I'm like, I usually don't even question it. I'm just like, enough, this has got to go, because I don't want it like manifesting even any further. You know what I'm saying? I don't give two shits to even talk to it. Got a question here from Rose.
Oh, exactly.
For you. She says, what does it mean whenever you're asleep and you feel like you're falling? I've always wondered that, and if you stop yourself from crossing because it's not your time to go yet. She's obviously heard the saying that if you fall and you hit the ground in your dream, you die. So that's what she's asking. She's always been curious about that thought, falling in your dream state.
I've never actually had that happen. I have heard the theories. I usually feel like I'm floating, not falling. Or I've been on journeys and actually been fighting and been tossed around in the air when I've been in that warrior mode from getting my ass kicked from time to time, but I've never had the falling. Now, all I can say to that is if you can take any control in your dream, if there's any control that you can have of your own dream while you're dreaming it, because some people can tap into their dreams and adjust them. Some people can't. And I would say if you're feeling that you're falling, there's probably your higher self is trying to tell you that, for one, you're feeling this way because something in your life is out of control and you feel like you have no control over it. You feel like you're losing ground. You're losing your ability in whatever situation it is. And maybe you're not discussing. A lot of times our dreams are another alternate form of consciousness trying to work out our problems. So the falling could feel like you're losing things. You're losing your rights. You're losing your ability. You're losing, power over a situation. It could have everything to do with that, and it may be a warning that's trying to help you understand that. Otherwise, if you have any ability in your dream to take control, turn over, and maybe you'll feel like you're floating.
So wait.
If you can take
actually
control
their
of
dreams
the
and shit?
falling and turn it.
Like I've never heard of people controlling their dreams or anything like that.
Really?
Nope. Yeah, I didn't know you could do that. I need to learn that skill. I have some pretty.
But a lot of times your dreams are a way of your unconscious energy trying to work out and become conscious, trying to tell you something. It can be the simplest little thing. Maybe the lake is full of mud and it's just dirty, dirty water. Well, it's telling you that you're somewhere in negative emotions. It's water. It's muddy. It's nasty. It's dealing with negative emotions. I mean, your dreams can tell you so much about something that you're trying to work through that maybe you don't understand. But yes, there are people who can control their dreams, but that's also part of starting to come into that higher dimensional energy. That's something that also sometimes happens before they start to actually start journeying or traveling. Not to mention, so many people do this so wrong. When they go into like meditation, they go into meditation just all willy-nilly, like, let me close my eyes and let me zen out and let me just go into this other realm and see what the world has to teach me. This is why in shamanism they teach you there's an upper world, a middle world, a lower world. And within those worlds, they fraction off into thousands of worlds. But in that middle world, it's no better than this world. There are spirits there that are not compassionate. There are energies there that are not compassionate. The middle world is not always safe. This is also where people who are low vibrational, but yet have connected to being able to invade people's privacy, to go into that middle world and do negative things to other people.
So they can
when I tell people to meditate,
they can like interact with things, or like, and who?
Oh yeah.
Whenever you say they taught you, like, who is they?
Well, they are different people, because sometimes it has to do with the different spiritual classes that I took. I went to Shamanism 101, which was then bought out by Shaman College. And I went through schooling with them for about 5 years. But then it's also they sometimes are spirits that I like when I deal with Grimm Or, I mean, I've dealt with, in Norse mythology, I deal with the god of the underworld, Hell. And in voodoo, I deal with Baron Semini. So I
does
mean, it depends on.
Actually, look like the Grim Reaper, dude, or what does he look like?
Yeah, that was the question.
He does look like the Grim Reaper.
Holy shit.
He does. He does. He wears a cloak, and he looks at least. But this is part of what I also explain to people. Just like how Matt was saying, he sees Linda Blair, and that's a cue. Whoa, shit has gotten real. You know, more or less for him. I don't want nothing to do with this kind of energy. To each one of us, your guides will show up the way they need to for you. So for me, Graham literally looks like the image of the skeleton. But sometimes he's also a skeleton dragon.
Okay.
Sometimes. I mean, I will admit to each person, I truly wholeheartedly believe in my heart and soul the way that your guides, when they come into your life and become part of your life, they're going to be whatever they need to be because they already know the way your mind works. They know what you can handle and what you can't handle. They know what you need to see in order to get the idea or the energy or the message. I've had people that I've been reading, you know, when I've had clients before, and I've had it happen, I think 2 or 3 times when I'm not seeing like the client's father, but I'm dealing with their father, but what I see is my father. Like I will see somebody that looks like my father, but from a distance, you know, dressed like the way I always thought my father, you know, my father was, you know, a pair of jeans and a flannel and a ball cap, you know, and he was this thin little man. I'm sorry, but he was this thin, frail man. And so when I am dealing with somebody, I will see something that looks like my father, but I know it's not my father. I know that that's their way of going, I'm a father present. Do you get what I'm saying?
Right.
Yeah. So whenever you say you see a dragon, though, is it like a big ass dragon or is it like just a little one?
It's just it's just a bumblebee-sized dragon, Adam. There's nothing to be scared of, right?
No, it's not. No, it's not.
Fucking
huge, one of
man.
the ones. There's a lot of people who don't believe in the mystical creatures, and then there are those who really do. And I'll be one. I used to foster dragons, meaning I would have the dragons would be here like just like little kittens originally. Like when they're first born, they'd hang out here. I'd have like 10 to 12 little baby dragons running around, and then poof, they're gone. They've gone to whoever they need to in spirit. Now I often foster gargoyles.
Oh,
but
shit.
my dragon, I foster gargoyles, but my dragon, I have a dragon guide. Then I see Grimm also as a dragon. When I see Grimm as a dragon, he's a black skeleton. But when I have other dragon guides as well, and one of them is like the size of the building, you know, like of an apartment building.
Right.
Like,
Oh shit.
if he stuck his head into the apartment, it takes up the whole wall.
That's pretty
So it depends.
intense
Wild
shit.
as fuck to see.
Yeah, that would definitely be wild as hell to see. I
That's
personally
why I
don't want nothing to do with shamanism. And the shit she's like, because like
Yeah,
the ritual to go through, like preparing to do this, she didn't even get into the story of like, she had to like be dead and not move for like 8 hours or some shit.
Yep.
I mean, like, what?
There's
like,
different
why?
rituals that you go through. You have different rituals and different initiations that you go through. And one of them is being buried. Basically, you're to be buried, but not in a way to where like you can't breathe and you'll suffocate, but it is to take on the idea of being buried and allow the world to take on its energy around you while you're still in this. And this is when I first started really dealing with dinosaurs.
Wait. What did you?
My life is so crazy. Huh?
Did you really say dinosaurs?
Yeah, I said dinosaurs. I have a pterodactyl that's a guide. I have a T-Rex that's a guide. I have a couple of different dinosaurs that are guides. I also have a saber-toothed tiger. I mean, when I was being buried and I had to sit there and go through that, I started going through like all of time. It was like as I laid there and took on the shamanism ritual, it was like taking on all of time. It was kind of like as if you were watching a time lapse, but it was happening in my head. It was happening for me to understand a new perspective. And all of a sudden, I've got dinosaurs looking down at me. And the next, it's like I traveled through time, through all of time. I can't explain it. It's nothing I can explain unless you've gone through it. And to this day, I still have them as guides.
I have a question.
Yep.
Teresa just dropped in the chat over here that the shaman has got to accept you as a person. What is that? What the hell is that?
I'm not understanding what you're saying.
I don't know. She says because the shamans have to accept you. What does she mean by that? Do you know what she means by that? Teresa,
my question is she asking like, do I accept myself? Does the shaman and me accept my ego? Or is it shaman has to accept all of everything?
Probably
that is very true.
Probably that. I'm gonna guess. I don't know. Teresa, is that what you meant, babe? Is that what you meant by the shaman just accepts all of the personalities? I said, I guess, because like you said earlier, Michelle, the way I see this, and I've told other people, if you are an asshole here, you're gonna die and be an asshole over there. It's not just like you're gonna have a great awakening and you're just gonna be perfect, right? She says the rituals that
I tell that to people all the time.
Right.
I tell that, I'm like, just because they're dead doesn't make them smart.
Oh, she's like the rituals that you go through is for being accepted in by the shaman. That would be the acceptance of accepting you into that shamanistic circle. I get it now. Okay.
There's a Jurassic Island, yo.
What?
I want to go. She said dinosaurs that do exist right now. There is a Jurassic Island. I didn't know that. That's crazy. I want to like. That'd be crazy if like to see an actual dinosaur. Like, so I don't know. Like how many different things do you actually see as like? What do you mean by like guides? Like, what is it guiding you for? Like, where's the guidance coming from? Is it like talking to you, or is it just like mental stuff, or like what's actually going on there?
He I guess he doesn't know
welcome to my crazy little world.
what is a spirit guide?
That means so many things. It does. It means, and like I said, it means so many different things. I mean, sometimes the messages are put into my third eye. Sometimes I'm literally looking at a dragon. Sometimes I'm literally got a dinosaur, showing me something from another realm. Sometimes they morph. You'd be surprised. See, this is what I mean by you can't understand oneness and you can't truly understand unconditional love until you go through so much, like they were saying with the initiations that you have to go through in shamanism, which I'm not allowed to talk about many of them. But there's so much that you have to go through into truly getting into that oneness. And until people grow into a level of that, they're not going to understand. And like I said, I could have a dinosaur standing here. I have watched my guides morph from a dog into a dragon and back into like a wolf.
So
They
why do
are
keep
one.
different shapes?
That's truly badass. I'm just saying.
Why? Like, what is the shaping?
Because the different, okay, from like a Native American perspective, let me put it to you on that level. When we get into like animal medicine versus dealing with a crossed over person who, or a person who has passed away, there's a big difference there. A person who has passed away but has not crossed over, this is a different kind of entity. This is definitely not a guide. Something who has crossed over into the light appears in a different way. But we also, just like I was saying, I could have a wolf, I could have a gorilla, I could have a giraffe, you know, as a guide. And there's a reason for that. When you start understanding from the Native American perspective, or you start looking at like Gaia's perspective, and you start looking at things from even plants and how plants grow, there's the reason I may be dealing with a wolf is because I'm being taught something that I need to understand by the action of that wolf. What that wolf is doing. It's helping me to understand often when I'm talking to my clients what it is I need to say that a lot of times they're not telling me.
So is it like different things or the same thing, just in a different shape?
It's usually the same thing, and it will morph into whatever it needs to morph into. Now, when I'm dealing with Grim only morphs into an angel. He will turn into Azrael, the angel. He will turn into the dragon, and he will turn into the skeleton. But this is what I think also my mind needs to see him as. When I'm dealing with hell from, or Hela, as some people would put it, and who believe in the Norse mythology, or like, Thor, and stuff like that, Loki. Hel was the goddess of the underworld, the goddess of the dead. She's technically a giant on that world tree. And when I get her,
I saw the movie. The Thor movie?
Well, yeah, the movie sucks compared to the story. But what I'm saying is, when I get Hel, and she's probably the most deepest of anybody I get, because she will even come in and be like, I don't care what Grim's telling you. You're still being a child. Now grow up. And she'll make me really see things from the shaman perspective. She'll be like, you knew this the whole time. You're in denial. Let me prove it to you. You know? But she's this giant thing. But I actually perceive her as, what is that Halloween movie? I see her as Sally.
Oh.
The Halloween cartoon?
Uh-huh. You're a Sally. So, like, is there like a comfort level thing to it, or is that why they're, like, because if it's all the same person, why doesn't it just,
No, I don't. I think, like I said, they're not all the same person. I think the animal guides are one entity that morph into everything. Then, like I said, Grim has his 3 things he morphs into. When I deal with Hel, she is typically looking to me like Sally, or I'm sitting on a throne and I'm being told what to do, more or less. When I'm dealing with Baron Semini, I have Baron Semini is got a whole different perspective on death. He's usually more of, fuck it, let's enjoy life. and don't waste the time you have, because you're going to lose it before you know it. So what I'm saying is, and then like when I deal with someone who's dead, who actually is dead, the dead who haven't crossed over, that's why I said there's so many things and energies and entities, and you have to learn how to cipher them. You have to learn how to understand, just like we were talking about the other night. I kept saying it was a spiritual parasite. There are so many different things, and they can morph into different things according to what you need. That is a comfort level, but it's also because why would a spirit give me a gorilla if what I needed was the medicine of a dog? Or let me put it to you this way. When I get a wolf versus a dog is all about unconditional love. You can chain a dog up, you can beat a dog to death, you can be horrible to a dog, and you cannot feed it, and that dog will still love you unconditionally. Dogs speak of unconditional love. However, a wolf is like, don't be a damn dog. A wolf will be like, don't be beaten. Don't take that shit. Don't give unconditional love to where it's not deserved. So depending on what I'm dealing with and my client or the message of what I need to understand, I will have a specific animal that I know this is what you mean. This is the references that go with you. And this is how they communicate with me. Sometimes I see them. Sometimes I'm being given images in my head. Sometimes I smell my aromatherapy. I will smell things, and I will know what that means. Just like I make essential oils. I don't hear well. That's how I hear. I very rarely ever get a clear, straight conversation. So usually I just know what I'm being told. This is also why I may see things in so many different ways, because my hearing for them is not clear.
Well, you got to remember, we're also on a third density level. Whatever convoluted world they're in, there's obviously going to be a distortion of some sort.
How are they showing you images and all that stuff? Like, how's that happening if there's no, like...
It's from
That's part of what I was saying in the beginning, where you get, as a shaman or even a medium, where you're seeing these energies and you know that it is, or are you going to sit there and go, I'm fucking crazy? I'm sorry, but like I said, we get to a point where you have to go, logic is no more. There's no point in trying to understand the spiritual, because it's in dimensions and it's beyond our level of comprehension. You scientifically cannot prove all of this right now. And this is why I said we were never like picking on you, Adam. It's good for you to have logic and have these questions. But if I was going to continue my life dealing with spirit, whether I wanted to or not, I either was going to end up in a mental institution because I was crazy and let people think I'm crazy because of what I see and what I deal with, and having people, that are not awake, who do not believe, tell me I'm crazy, versus, no, I am what I am. I stand in my power. I believe in it. And I've actually helped a lot of damn people and the dead and so forth move forward. It's not my job, my responsibility to care what you or anybody else thinks. Those who do believe in me and do seek my help will come to me. Those who think I'm crazy, well, that's fine. I don't really care what you think.
You guys just let me know where to send a mental 302, and look, I'm just kidding. The 302 is a medical certificate by the state issued to someone that is woo woo. I personally don't believe that Michelle is woo woo. I have heard her. I've been with her and dealt with. She's an amazing tarot reader. She is a hell of an astrologer. And when it comes to being a guy, let me tell you what. When it comes to, let's go back to the word. I'll even say the word COVID. Right. I thought that I was spiritually disconnected. Or was I, Michelle? How I was disconnected? How would you describe my experience?
Well, you was disconnected. You was in a bad place. I'll leave it at that.
I was on the phone with her day in and day out, and she's always called me and check on me. And with knowing, again, my ancestral heritage is Cherokee Indian, Blackfoot Indian. I understand what a medicine man and medicine woman does. So for someone to step up to the plate like her, to even put it this way, label the name Shaman, that is not an easy label to carry. And I myself have put trust into her, and I get, what is it, Azazel, Ariel, whatever, what the hell is his name? What is his spiritual name, Michelle?
Azrael.
That's it. She even sent his ass to check on me. And I'm going to tell you what. I never for the love of me thought that I would feel something like that, because I'm not shut down to it. I am just put it this way. It was a loving feeling, but also kind of like a taunting. Oh, you'll fucking get over this. Don't worry about it. You're gonna be fine. Just that, and trust me, my own shit self was like disconnected from anything remotely spiritual. I felt alone. I felt betrayed. I felt alone. And when she finally said, she's like, I'm sending Grim to help you, at least give you some help. I'm thinking, oh great, this bitch sends the Grim Reaper to my house. I'm gonna die. But that wasn't the kicker. It's like that wasn't it at all. This was an in your face. You're gonna be all right. Pick up your bootstraps, you little whiny bitch. That's what I felt like. And I'm like, Michelle,
a little of that,
dude,
send them over my way.
Dude, I'm not lying. That is the feeling I got whenever she sent him, or I think he even asked you, "Do you want me to go?" Did he not? How was that, Michelle? Because I was sick.
I was driving down the road when you had an episode. We'll leave it at that. And I'm driving down the road when all of a sudden he peeks in at me, and I was like, oh, just go, because I'm driving. And I was like, Crib's on his way. And then a few minutes later, I was like, he's going to be at your house. He's going to be the entire size of your house. Hold on, and he'll shrink down, and you'll know. And I know that he checked on you several times, because I was like, go back. Go back.
Right.
I was like, if there's anything in that house, get it the hell out of the house. I mean, that's another thing. I mean, like, he's my guide. I mean, but he's also, I have like a major relationship with him. And a lot of shamans are known to have like spiritual marriages. Well, I somewhat have a spiritual marriage with him, but it's not a marriage. He's more like a brother, because we would just fight with each other like brother and sister. And but he's always got my back, and so I'm probably the only human being who will say I see Grim taking a nap in my bed,
Right.
So he's always here. He's always with me. And but when you're dealing with spirit or even the dead, you can also, get them to help with other things. Like I said, I sent Grim over to help you. I was like, I'm driving down the road. I don't fully understand. I can't read this text. And I knew where you were mentally, because I was working with you for days. And I was just like, Grim, just go and do what you got to do because I can't do it right now. And I did that to you a lot.
Let's kick it. Like, I'm down to kick it with him for a little bit.
Oh, Adam's gonna pass a joint to Grim.
Yeah.
Michelle,
Over here and smoke, bud.
I got a question in regards to like now. Are you familiar with the demonic world and the possession of human being, possessions of people over here? Over in the Middle East, there's what they call the jinn. Okay, I guess it's one of Allah's first creations, pre-human, Gigi. Now, the Quran says that the jinn was a creation of Allah out of what is called smokeless fire. Okay. Now, here's the kicker. They are supposedly allowed to interact with, participate with, but yet be not seen. There's a barrier to where they can. Let's have you ever heard of a magician by the name of David Blaine? Have you ever heard of David Blaine?
Yeah.
Okay, they say that David Blaine signed a contract and has an agreement with a djinn to help him with his magician or magic in the 3D realm. I know.
Who says this?
What's that?
Who says this?
You can just look it up. Just look it up. Yeah, they say that David Blaine has signed deals with the devil or works with demons and shit. Now, I've got a friend, Michelle, and I know that you know her. Her name is Pinky Parmonks from out of Italy. She put me in touch with a guy by the name of Yiff, Y-I-F-F, Yiff. And let me tell you what, this dude is absolutely what I refer to. I don't buy into I'm not saying I don't buy into the demons, like, helping man or contractual shit, blah, blah, blah. However, I do believe that we can become what's called not a mentalist, but an elementalist. Okay, an elementalist, meaning that you can, you have the ability within your own being to manipulate matter, materialistic shit. What do you think about that stuff?
Yes. Okay. I agree on both, because I'll tell you for a fact, contracts do exist. Oh. And you'd bet. Good luck to you if you sign a contract. Yeah, you might get everything you want, but good luck to you, and that's where I'll end that. I have dealt with many of energies, as well as demonic, that, I have a thing where I will do a file on your, like when you're born astrologically, you're born with specific rays of light. So you're born with specific angels that will oversee your life. And a lot of people really are into that and will pray to those angels for those different situations. Well, just as equally, you're born to specific demons, okay? And a lot of that has to do with the Seal of Solomon, because this is where you get a lot of these true original demons. And for every one, there's a positive and a negative. The demonic side, just like I say, every angel has a demonic side. Every demonic side has an angel. There's the back and forth side. Basically, they would be like the ego versus the not. It is all part of the balance. And where people look at it from a demonic perspective or jinn perspective or all these other creatures that have been created that fall in that realm, there are things out there that will offer up and create a contract with you for whatever the situation may be. Just like I've been told that somewhere along the line, I had a contract being the last one of my family where I will have a lot of problems. And I'm like, yeah, great. Good for you all. I don't care about your contract of whoever signed me off many, many thousands of years ago, because I've learned to come into my power. I've learned to come into my shamanism. So screw you, and I'll cancel your contract because of exactly what you were asking. Materialism.
How do I?
When we look into,
like,
hold on, when we get into the idea of manifesting our reality. You've heard me say, Matt, you've heard me say this a million times. I know that wall right there, you've heard me say this a million times. I know that I can look at this wall, and I know that this wall is mass. I know that technically it's a solid, and according to science, though, when you get into energy and all of that, it's all manipulatable. So
Right.
my point is, I know I'm not going to ever be happy until I can put my hand through that wall.
Or walk through it. All right. Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
she's always said that.
Okay, you guys learn how to do that. Like, let me know. I'm working on it myself.
But
Oh,
that's my point. It's like, but this is where I go with my stuff. I go this deep with my stuff because if you want to get into religion, Jesus was said, you know, you can move mountains. Well, maybe you really could move mountains. But I mean, you've heard the theory here, and the idea is when we get into understanding the deeper levels of science and being able to control our brain, control our thinking, not be part of, you know, so much of this other energy that's been so manipulative, and we're taught that, you know, like I said, you're taught that this solid is real. None of this world is real, but I haven't gotten to a shaman level to where I'm able to put my hand through that wall yet. And until I do, I'm not going to be freaking happy. This is why I was saying, take me all the way back to that demonic side of where I was told through other energies and situations in my own past where I had a contract that basically was saying I would lose my powers to it. I took my power back.
I'm showing on.
My point is there are
Yif's elemental. This is who I'm talking about. That I was introduced to, and this is what I know as an elementalist. An elementalist. This dude is able to manipulate elements. Literally, because that's it. The molecule. An elementalist.
Exactly.
This shit to me, I totally fucking believe that this is real. You're not watching quote unquote demon magic. This is just, I guess just as
sleight of hand. Really good sleight of hand.
Great sleight of hand.
Being able to control the energy.
Perfect sleight of hand. Watch this shit. I mean, you know, again.
I'm watching it. I get what you're saying. And able to control and manipulate the energy, you have got to get to where you understand. It's just like in the movie The Matrix, when Neo goes in and the one kid is sitting there and the spoon is turning. And he says, don't try to move the spoon because the spoon isn't real in the first place.
That bastard doesn't exist. Right. This is what I refer to this as an elementalist. We know that the world is full of elements. We too are an element. Okay? And we are heavily manipulated. We are also very we are conformative to the world around us.
You just pulled an entire loaf of bread out of his shirt pocket. Oh, we messed it up right there.
That's the sleight of hand right there.
Yeah. Oh, you messed it up.
You know, this is the thing where, again, this goes back to those that have the ability and those that are like David. Again, the David Blaine thing. I don't see why or where you would want to even remotely think about trying to sell your soul, or anything like that in reference to
David Blaine.
Well, David Blaine or not, dude, that's a no-no. You wouldn't want to do that shit. No, hell no. Michelle, that shit's real, Michelle.
It's usually
Selling
not your soul that you're selling. It's something else.
selling the soul.
It's usually not your soul that you're selling.
What would it be?
Yeah, what would you give up?
What would it be, Michelle?
Your children, your children's children.
Oh, fuck them. No, I'm just playing.
I mean, on that level, it usually goes into stuff like that. But like I said, it's not always a bad situation. I will tell people all the time that, you know, truthfully, the demonic energy is going to point out what they're already doing wrong and try to put it in your face. It gives you the opportunity to go, let's make you a little worse because you refuse to change. Or if I show it to you, will you grow? It's just like you think of good and bad. Well, bad also works for the good. It's the oneness. And without light, without dark, you would never know what light is. Without love, you would never know what hate was.
I got another.
They go together.
So, well, yeah. So,
And
like,
a lot of people don't like to understand that. There's a balance there. You have to have your sweet with your sour.
but why? But why would why would that one be able to offer you a soul, or offer you a contract, but the other one wouldn't? Like, why would that be?
No. I didn't say that one would offer, one wouldn't. I said some people are dumb enough to do it, to get into those positions of something. And usually it's because they've gotten themselves in some kind of trouble and they don't know how to get out of it, and they're in such a desperate need of fix this right now, fix this. But what they're doing is they're selling the situation. Versus, I tell people all the time, even when I don't always deal with light energies. I am dealing with the underworld, but that doesn't mean I'm going to create a contract. That means I'm seeing the balance. I deal with both the light and the dark so I can get the true truth.
Why would it be your children or your children's children or whatever? Why would that be like like the price for everything? Like, why wouldn't it be you?
I don't do contracts. I just know of people who have done them in the spiritual realm. So I couldn't really give you fully detail on that. But often it's because they'd rather sell somebody else than themselves.
Well, yeah, I'd sell everyone.
And that becomes
compared to
even
me.
more valuable. Huh?
Like, right? I'd sell everyone. It's not me.
And that's what they expect. That's the expectancy there. Keep them in the lower vibration. Keep them in the negative. Let's continue to cause more issues in that case. I mean, you also have, sometimes it's not demons when people think it's demons. Sometimes it's, like I said, the dead who's been here for so long that they're just going crazy. This is often what poltergeist is. So much negativity. Think about it, like when people talk about poltergeist or the negative places like insane asylum, and they're being haunted with bad things. That's full of negative ectoplasm. That's more or less like electricity traveling through negativity, just wanting to beat. It's mad. It's not healed. It's energy that's been left behind that hasn't been healed, and it's still pissed off and still looking at something to put its energy on. This is why I'm saying it's not always demonic situations. A lot of people want to put it on the theory that it's demonic, but this is why I said it's important to cross over those who have died. Once you die, you're not meant to be here anymore.
Well, yeah. So why would they stay then? Why would because they have a they would know that they aren't able to talk to anyone and all that stuff, so they would kind of know that they were dead. So why can't they just go on this journey for themselves? Why can't and why is it
when you're in the between, This is what I'm trying to. This is why I call it the stain. I call it the stain more than the parallel or anything else because they couldn't move on to the light for whatever reason. They weren't given that option. It wasn't there. This is like why when we move with spirits that have been left behind for whatever reason, and we start trying to help them make peace with themselves, with their time here on this planet. We want to move them on and into the light. That's when I usually put them with the wolf, because I always say nobody can cry better than a wolf can howl. So nobody's going to understand pain more than a howling wolf. So I work with them and I deal with the pain that they're going through. I hear their stories. I help them. I let the wolf, because I can't, like I said, I've had certain ones it's taken me over a year to get them crossed. I can't be with them 24 hours a day for over a year. I mean, I have to check out and have my life. And then I check in and see where we're at. But perfect example, I used to have a podcast show called Otherland Dreams. And a very good friend of mine named Devin was my co-host. Devin got hit by a car doing like 55 miles an hour, and he's on foot.
Oh, shit.
And so I'm at the hospital, and I see his soul starting to. They have him on life support. And he was giving away a lot of his organs to help other people. And I see his soul start to lift up out of his body, and then it goes back in. And then it starts to lift up out of his body, and then it goes back in, because he's being kept alive.
All right, so you're saying because the body
And
itself was not ready, right? The body was like, the body was dying, the soul was ready to leave, but the body was like being forced to be alive. Right?
Exactly.
See, this is the thing right here.
So I'm talking to him when
I
nobody's
hate
in the
that.
room.
I can't stand that. Life support, I'm one that does not believe in that. So what you're describing, being a shaman, seeing that shit, like the body, the body's dead. Look, the body's gone, the dude's gone, and the soul's going, I can't leave because the fucking thing's on ventilation and life support. That, to me, yo, dude, I don't believe in life support at all. I don't. My own kid, my wife.
That is part of what put him. But that right there is part of what kept him here. He tried to leave several times. He couldn't, because the body was being kept alive. He couldn't just go. And when he finally did die, and he was able to do those things, because I know as a human being and as a soul, he was proud at the end of his death to have been able to have his organs help other people. But I also know that when he tried to leave several times, I'm standing here talking to him because I know he's hearing me, and I'm like, you need to stop being connected to this earthly plane. Seriously, I'm like, stop holding on to it all now, because now you're being stuck in that preventative level for too long. And it took me a year to get him to cross over.
Damn.
To a point where, I know he's a friend and he cared, and he's was following me around, and other people who are spiritually connected, who knew him, was like, yes, I can feel him here. And I was like, yes, but he's getting sick. And they were like, what are you talking about? And I'm like, this is what I'm saying. I was like, he can't stay here. He's wanting to touch things. He's wanting to feel things. He's wanting a hug. He's wanting, to feel what it feels like to be in a river, just anything, and he's following us around. And, like I had when he died, things were given to me from the family that was his because of our shaman connection. And they were like, well, you're probably the only one who's going to be interested in this stuff. And he's like, I didn't give that to you. And I'm like, I know you didn't give that to me, but what do you need it for?
So you're arguing with the dead dude. your dead friend. That's shit.
That was a good fit. That right there is what I'm trying to say. Is the fact of you can't use it. You can't do anything with it. It's in the physical reality. All you can do is freaking look at it, and we're fighting over this. How long is it going to be before you decide to possess somebody because you are going crazy?
Michelle, listen to me real quick.
I have to fight with him about this in order to move him forward.
Right here, Andy Cassie's got a really, really good question, and I want to chime in on this because a lot of people don't really get this. Adam's falling asleep on me. He's had a long day. All right, so anyway, Andy Cassie says, so if within free will, why would the soul do that? Meaning go like you were saying, go back in, come out, go back in, come out, go back in, come out. Now, I want to address Andy's question because the Bible refers to what's known as the silver cord. The silver cord is what supposedly, again, in the Bible, if you believe the Bible is historic, if you believe whatever, the silver cord is what keeps the body and the soul or the spirit attached to one another. When the body is no longer alive, functionality, the silver cord does not exist. Okay, so the silver cord is that you've heard the theory of, well, if you go into the astral and someone cuts your silver cord, you're dead. I personally, I'm like, look for the silver cord, you sorry bastard. I'll eat you. All I'm saying, no. The body itself has got to be non-inhabitable for the silver cord to not be there, or the body, or that's what's going to happen. That, am I right, Michelle, or not? The body just wasn't dead yet.
Yes, because that's what I'm saying. He was on life support. He should, if they would have turned the machines off, he would have died. But they kept him alive for days before they were able to, get rid of the organs and send them to all of these different people so that he could be able to be that person who gave those organs to that people. They weren't going to cut him open, keep him alive, cut him open, keep him alive. They were going to take all those organs at the same time. So in order for them to decide what organs were going where and to who was the next one on the waiting list, they had to go through who all is going to get them, where are they going, what are we taking, and we're going to take all of those organs at the same time. He was literally being kept alive for that. And during that presence, he couldn't die because he was being kept alive. There's that
his
free will wouldn't allow him
the
to
other
leave
people.
yet.
His organs are alive in the other people. So he's still like partly alive.
Yes,
right?
but then that's very much true. He possibly is that may be also part of why I had so much trouble getting him to cross over, because there's still an essence of him here. They say a lot of times that, there's a connection between the dead if there's a spirit that's hanging out. Well, you've got pieces of your body in different places. It took a long time to get him to let go of this earthly realm's bullshit in order to move him into a better place.
I'm gonna tell my everyone that whenever they say, "Oh, you just need to get over everything," I'll be like, "Look, there's ghosts who just still haven't got over their stuff."
Adam, so, don't tell me to get over this because oh shit.
Where so
I deal with that on a daily basis.
There was so like wait, if there is so do you have do ghosts see other ghosts?
Some.
Or do so they could be having a party up there. They could just have fun, right? So they could still technically talk to other ghosts. And as long it's just like
I said, it depends on their dimensional energy. That has a lot to do with like vibrational energy. If you're in a vibrational margin that's a lower margin, then you're going to be with ghosts that are in a lower margin of dimension. If you're in a higher level of dimension, That's different. I'm not saying that they can't see each other, but I'm saying depending on where you are, there may not be anybody around.
Michelle, got a question for you from Andy Cassidy. He's like, all right, Michelle, so I was born dead and they brought him back to life as a child. And then something about he may have fell off on a roof or some shit. I lost my life again. So he's asking, is what has happened to him in his life, you think, is what brought him to have such a spiritual connection with all of the universe and all of humanity? What would you say to that?
Very much so. I could see that. I mean, let me put it to you. This is Andy, right?
Yeah.
I mean, really, it doesn't matter if it's Andy, but I thought you said it was Andy.
Yeah.
I mean, if you've had so many near-death experiences, I mean, especially if from birth and whatnot, being born like a stillborn, you know, but somehow being able to be fixed to where you're able to breathe and live a life. I mean, I could see that very much being where you're connected to the other realms and understanding, and why you're in such a overload of hippie love peace, because you don't see the world through the same lens that so many others do. You've also
why wouldn't I?
Almost lost your life so many more times. You see it. So many people talk about, you know, how fragile life is, or live in the moment because something's reminded them of that. But then 2, 3, 4, 5 weeks, days, whatever later, they're back to the reality they've always known. They're not as grateful for every moment because they don't live in that reality. But for somebody like you who've had so many situations, it may very well be why you see things from such a perspective. You have a higher level of gratitude than most will ever have. And they will not understand you because of their lack of being able to understand that.
That makes sense to me.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah, like so then why wouldn't I? Like I've had my fair share of experiences where I shouldn't be alive anymore. So
there's a difference between shouldn't be alive and actually on a bed almost dead or pronounced dead and brought back.
I mean, okay, fair enough.
I mean, you can't understand what it's like to be dead and be back alive unless you've been dead and back alive. I haven't had that happen, but I'm saying I also know that I would be talking out my flippin' ass if I said that I could understand what I know I can't.
I had like spinal meningitis twice whenever I was a baby, like a year old or 6 months old and a year old. And like I was about to die. I was in the hospital on a ventilator and all of that. And like literally the doctors were telling my mom that I was going to die. So like, I mean, and that was twice.
I don't know. I mean, different people take things different ways. There's no rhyme or reason to why people spiritually wake up versus not spiritually waking up. Because I know, Andy, I know, Adam, you want to understand and you'd like to see you'd like to see these things so that you could understand what we're talking about. I'm aware of that. I just can't give you a reason as to why some people wake up and understand and some people don't. Only thing I can ever tell anybody is if your soul doesn't let you, there's a reason. And it's not my job to know that reason unless I'm being told to go in and do something like soul loss.
Well, I mean, I thought that isn't that like kind of your thingy, like trying to like understand all of this stuff? Like, I don't know. I was just asking. That doesn't mean I understand
it all.
Yeah.
No, I'm saying I want to understand everything about everything. Where you logically want to understand everything about everything, scientifically and stuff, I will get I'll drive myself insane. I want to understand it too, but that doesn't mean I get it. That means sometimes I'm also ready to step back and go, you're right, I know nothing. Please show me. And sometimes I get lucky and they show me. And sometimes I get a whole lot of nothing.
I love you, Chuck. Thank you,
But
bro.
when I do work on soul retrieval or something like that, that's a different story. I'm not going to get the messages or the pieces of soul parts just because I'm hanging out and talking to you. I have to actually go work on a shaman perspective for that.
You know, let me say something in regards to something that may help me and everybody else understand where Adam is at, and or where a lot of people are at. I have ran into some people that do not have the internal dialogue, okay? Meaning that internal voice, that dialogue with self. There's a lot of people in this world that do not have that internal voice. And to me, that'd be fucking insane, because I'd probably go nuts if I couldn't talk to or hear from higher self or argue with my own self. Adam, do you have an internal dialogue, bro? Let me ask you that.
Yes. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
Okay, that's just wondering, because a lot of people do not. You know that, right?
I mean, yeah, I've heard that like people like can't like talk to themselves or something like that, or they don't like hear a voice or something like that whenever they're thinking. But like, I don't know. I think it's probably more just the way the brain's wired. I don't know.
Well, could be. Could very
Or
possibly be.
or they're just bots.
They're bots. Could be that too. Could be AI. Could be AI. Voice to skull technology. I mean, that's real. Voice to skull technology. We've kind of went over that a little bit. Morgan Roundtree's a higher self knows better.
Yeah. So like, how do like, so there's like a there is some sort of like attachment between death and all of this stuff. Like your awakening happened after you were almost robbed or whatever, or held at gunpoint. Like where do you see this like kind of going, or like where is it kind of, where's like the like what's overall the goal of it? Like, is it just to continue helping people until forever, or like what happens whenever you die then? Like, do you become a like one of these guides or something like that, or?
Well, when you die and you cross into the light, you can choose to guide. I mean, you have many people out there who, you know, you'll hear them call their ancestors or family members who have crossed over. They'll be like, she's my angel now, or he's my angel now, like a little angel on their shoulder. But they're not an angel, but they are like a family member who will watch over them. That is possible once they've crossed over into the light. But the point is, we don't really know what happens when you're in the light. I don't care what story anybody tells you, unless you've been in the light and you've come back, you don't really know what happens there.
Well, yeah, but wouldn't that be where a guide is? Like, a guide's been to the light and has came back, right? Like, or, and...
Yes, but...
Sorry, go ahead.
No, I understand what you're saying, but what I'm saying is the guides can go into the light. I can't, so I don't know. I know when they come and help me, or when I have family members who have crossed over, when I'm doing a reading with somebody and they step forward and let me know they're there so that I can do whatever I'm doing with my client or whatever. So I know that they'll come forward and they'll leave, and they probably go back into the light. The point is, they can be anywhere. It's like they say angels are able to be in every place at every time. I don't know. I'm not one. I just know what I deal with. When I die is when I go into the light. Well, I'll find out what I'm due then. It's that simple. I don't know. I may help others. I may, who knows, maybe jump in another body and start all over again. Even though if I do, I swear to God,
Ah,
I do not want to
So
come back
just-
to the day.
So do you just essentially just talk to these guys or to these spirits, right? Or like how do you
Yeah.
help them? You just talk with them.
Well,
Like,
like I
is
said,
that-
if it's the dead, that's a different subject. If it's the dead, it's a different subject. If it hasn't crossed over, it has definitely a different look from something that has crossed over. These will show up more like an apparition, more like something that you can see through. But sometimes it's a completely different kind of situation. Sometimes I don't see them at all, but I know them and I can feel them there. It's just the way that it works. They're definitely not the same as a guide. Their energy is not as prominent. And usually it's surrounded by some form of low vibrational illness. It's usually, like I said, they're holding on to some trauma. They're holding on to something that they're angry about. They're holding on. There's a reason. Like I said, you could have other dead other people who have passed away. They could possibly communicate with each other, but it's not like they got a bar for the dead. You know what I'm saying? It's not like they're just all hanging out together. They have their life, even though their life right now is dead. So it's not a warm, fuzzy place for them. So when we get them, we're dealing with them and helping them to get to a place that is good, that is healthy, that is happy. Because it's just like my friend who got hit by the car. I mean, I had to fight with him for a long time, but I was like, you of all people who have been studying shamanism as well, know better than this. I'm like, this is just your ego wanting to hold on to this because of being afraid of what you don't know. I was like, but if you move on, it'll be a whole new subject. You know better. And I do deal with him from time to time now that he's crossed over, and his energy is completely different now.
Well, how
I
do you
can
know you're
feel a healthy energy.
So you know you're sending them to a good place because the next time you see them or whatever. So then, but then
The energy is no longer.
The dude who was a shaman or whatever, he should be able to kind of tell you, right, where or kind of hint you in the right direction of what's actually there on the other side, so you know, right? Or is that not?
Well, that's the thing. They don't tell us.
Either.
It's not for us to know. That's one of those things that you just have to understand. It's not for you to know.
But what if it's you're sending them to a trash compactor? Because there's that whole theory.
I mean, like I said, I've had them come back, and their energy is not ill anymore. It's a better place. It's like I said. I mean,
well then why would they come
and to
back?
be honest, because they still care about you. They're still friends and family, and there's still energies that they can. It's just now they're not coming with sick energy. If it's not been crossed out of the stain, it eventually is going to get sick. It's holding on to earthly energy that it has no business holding on to. And plus, you've got other energies out there like soul eaters that will just start eating on that energy and making it worse.
For them or for you? Do they what well yeah, because soul eater, that sounds pretty dope. What would that be then? If there's something that exists in that realm, what is that? What would that realm be? Is it like a purgatory type situation?
That would be making it closer to the idea of what the human would perceive as hell. Meaning, if the parallel, or what I like to call the stain, is kind of like a purgatory, where you're just left in nothingness, you don't really get to have anything, you know, versus the soul eater is taking away your rights. It's taking away your ability to be healed, your ability to everlastingness.
So why would
Damn
there,
it.
why would there be any at all then? Why would there be any like
Because
spirits?
why are you alive today? Why are we on this planet? Why are we born? Why do we exist? It's all part of the same thing. It's part of, like I said, there's good and there's bad. There's a balance. It's not necessarily meant for us to understand, even though, just like you, I love to ask questions and I want answers, but that don't mean you're going to get them. Some things you will get answers on, some things you won't. I just know things like that are not meant to be anything around what I'm working with, and I will have to get rid of that stuff if that's around. I don't want, like when I'm working with the dead or the living, I don't want that kind of harm coming to anybody, whether you're alive or dead.
How do you know whenever it's there?
That's taking you out of not even existence. That's taking you out of immortality, everlastingness.
So, well, yeah. How do you know that it's there and it's like feeding off of it? Whatever. Or do you just like feel it?
That's getting into energies you're not going to understand anyway, Adam. I mean, because
You'll feel drained,
that goes
okay?
back to like what we were talking about the parasite.
Stop.
Like,
Michelle, as simplistic as it can get, ready? If you feel fucking drained and for no reason at all, and you are around some, just let's just say you go to a bar. These entities love hanging around a bar, okay? Love it, because there's like sad ass emotion, there's hatred there's all kinds of bad shit there's on the bar.
Yep.
So if you get an attachment at a bar and you bring it home, and I'm not talking about some some floozy or some random overnight one night stand. I'm talking like an entity, an attachment. When that entity and attachment starts to grow, you will feel physically and emotionally fucking destroyed. I do.
Yeah.
I know I do. If I go somewhere, I feel physically drained, and I wonder why. And then whenever I'm serious, crazy enough as it may sound, Adam, smudge myself, talk to myself, pray to myself, and guess what? Sooner or later, it goes away. Number one, it knows that it has no authority over my being. It has no authority over my entity at all. But nevertheless, you'll feel the drain. You'll feel the emotional and the energetic sucking of the off of you, dude. You will. Miss Michelle Espinosa, it's
like you were saying too, it won't just drain your life source energy. It'll start to drain your vitality of life. You won't want to do anything. You won't want to be part of anything. You start giving up what is important to you. You start watching your life, go to shit where you're not working. You're not being part of anything. That's part of what all these things do. And that's why I said it could be starting with something as simple as what we were talking about on Monday, a spiritual parasite that will start maturing and growing into some big, bad, ugly. There's all kinds of things out there. They're not all good.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
And then it just comes back with, okay.
Do you hear the tunage, Michelle? You do.
Yeah, it's getting to be night time.
Adam's tired. It is getting late.
Tunage, yes.
Michelle,
You
look,
want me
man.
to say goodbye to everybody?
I do. I also put up for everybody how to get a hold of you. So I shared your Facebook page here on the show tonight. again, I'm
Thank
not saying yes. You know, any kind of astrology work, guide. Again, this girl, she has come to me, and I've come to her for all kinds of shit, and I know I really shouldn't have, but I did. I went to her with some stupid shit, and she's like, "It's gonna be okay." But anyway, the guide thing, man. Whether you want to seek her out as a shaman, a friend, she's a friend to me, and I know she'll be a friend to you as well. So hit her up on the Facebook, Michelle Espinosa. She also. Do you still have your? What do you call it? Your Etsy shop? Or no?
I do still have an Etsy shop. It's LSF Sanctuary LLC.
Okay.
And basically, right, that's still there, but 90% of the time, everybody just comes to me directly so that I can just figure out what it is they need. Because a lot of times my guides just help pick out products for them. In honesty, I have so many more people just come to me and be like, what is it that your guides are telling me I need? But I do have, I have plenty of essential oils. I have baths. I can create things for people individually. I'm still working at trying to eventually get a full, like 3-dimensional shop that I can place. But at the moment, it's all on the internet. You can always come to me directly, and even if you don't know what you're looking for, we can find a way to either I already got it, or we can find a way to make it for you. It's that simple. But what I would say mainly is I don't always come out foo-foo. I don't always come out like the biggest loving sounding thing, because I'm going to make you do the hard work. I'm going to work at truly getting the most healing that I can for you. And if I have to dig deep into your energy and make you face stuff you don't like, well, that's because I'm doing the job that really needs to be done. I want to see everybody get the best and the most out of their experience here on this planet, including myself. There's always healing that has to happen, including for my own self. As long as you're alive, you're always in need of healing. I was told that before by Archangel Raphael. The point is you will always have something that will knock you down, and you will always have something new that you're going to find that you need to heal from. If we're working together and we're doing it right, we're making each other better. That's what it's about. So if you need help, you can always look me up. With that, I love you all.
Thank you, Michelle. Peace out to you. I love you too. Take care of yourself. Say good night, Mr.
Bye,
Logic.
honey.
Good night.
Good night, Mr. Logic. No, yeah, it was. Oh, I just killed my camera.
Yeah,
oh my god. Okay, hey.
Don't touch the dial. Don't touch that.
No, it was fun. I'm going to bed. Don't do anything without protection, guys.
Don't do anything without protection.
Sure that you're not giving up your soul, and I guess protect yourself. I don't know. I never knew half this stuff. Like that whole soul eater thing. Like that. Get out of here, soul eater. Like I might have one of them. So hey, send Grim over here, so he can kick it and kick its ass up out of here. Like, you know what I'm saying? So yeah, like it was super fun, and thank you, Michelle, for coming on and talking. And it was good. Okay, well, yeah,
brother.
So
Hugs down below, man. I love you down there. Take care of yourself, Harry. I'll catch you later, buddy. Good night.
Alrighty, bud.
Okay, everybody, ladies and gentlemen, Miss Michelle Espinosa and my sidekick, Mr. Adam Dolinar. What's up? I hope you guys enjoyed tonight. I really do. We had an interesting show. I do believe we had an interesting show. Psychopomp, what it is and what it is to be a psychopomp. I know I would not want that lifestyle at all. I'm happy with just being me. Just a videocaster, podcaster, broadcaster, husband, astral projector. She's told me that I've done this before, meaning helped cross over people and shit, but I don't know, man. It just doesn't really resonate with me. However, the dreams that I've had before, and I've explained them to her, she's like, "Oh yeah, you've done this before," and interesting. I just don't know. But I found a friend in Michelle. I love her to pieces, and I know you guys will too. So reach out to her if you guys got any problems you guys want help with. Again, she is an amazing astrologer, as well as check this out. She works with. I didn't even get to go over this with her, but it would be sound healing, as well as the healing of the multi chakras within the body, not just the seven. We're talking the zeal point chakra to all of the chakras all over the body. Your kneecap. I had no fucking clue how many chakras were actually in the body, but she helped me with that. Amazing. Star charts. Michelle, hello. Reach out to her. Just try it. With that being said, Brainiacs, till next time. It'd be Friday. I have no clue as to what we're going to talk about. We'll definitely get into something. Probably just me and you. I think Adam's going to be... I sound like I'm dying. Again, thanks, Chad. I'm sick because of Chad. Damn it. Anyway, I will catch you guys here on Friday night. We'll get into something. I was thinking somewhere along the lines of what was it? The giant trees, giants, the Book of Enoch. I was thinking along those lines. So you guys just let me know what you think. Get into the giants, the Book of Enoch, and that kind of conspiracy, but yet I don't know, religious connotation, the connections. It'll be interesting, no doubt about it. Again, everybody, take care of yourself. Share this broadcast, share this podcast. And if you have liked tonight's show and you enjoyed it, please smash the subscribe button up here right above the video. Become a subscriber today. Please, every dime counts. It helps me. Number one, it helps me take care of the expenses of the show. This is what I do every day. I live it, I breathe it. This is the broadcast of broadcasts in my life. And I call it your guys' broadcast. This show absolutely would not happen without subscribers and donators. So thank you to everybody who is a subscriber. And they harness a little blue shield beside their name. So there's no hiding who they are. So again, everybody that has done that, I appreciate you. With every aspect of love within me, take care of you guys yourself, take care of one another, and I'll see you guys here on Friday night. Crank this shit up on your way out, Brainiac. Let's do this, baby. Good night, everybody. Yeah.
Let's do this.
Woo, woo, woo.
One of the fastest growing talk shows on the internet. Radio show where welcome aboard the Matrix Minds. One of the most controversial conspiratorial shows on the web, the Matrix Minds. And that's right. Buckle up, everybody. Let's go. Paranormal, huh? Conspiracy, huh? Ufology, hidden Egyptology, and anything and everything we can get our hands on. Let's go. Welcome aboard.
That's right. Mr. Eddie Katz, he says, crank that bitch up, dude. See if we can blow some speakers. Matthew's cranking out, man. Yeah, keep going. Get it on.
Sure.
You take the blue pill, the story ends. You wake up in your bed and believe whatever you want. You take the red pill, Stay in Wonderland, and I show you how deep the rabbit hole goes. All I'm offering is the truth. Nothing. Stay in Wonderland. All I'm offering is the truth. Nothing. Stay in Wonderland. All I'm offering is the truth.
What is up, all my beautiful and gorgeous souls? I am Michelle Espinosa, otherwise known as the Shaman, through the Matrix Mind Media. So tell me, how many times have you wished that you had that special power of prediction? You know, to know what was going to happen before it actually happened and took place. To have some power and control over that situation before things came flying at you out of left field. The thing is, you actually can have that power. You can be aware of what's coming. Tune in to Astrology TV with me for Breaking the Cage. Every Sunday evening at 10 p.m. Eastern on the Matrix Mind Media. And I will go through the astrology and help put you on the right course and get you back in control of your own life. Love you guys.
This CBD fluid is a whole flower fluid extracted from the cannabis flower. We don't use any heat, butane, or chemicals when we extract, so we get all of the components of the plant. All the CBD, CBG, CBA, all the terpenes, all the flavonoids. This allows our body to absorb at 60 to 90% rather than the average of 6 to 10% absorption you would get with a CBD oil. Because our bodies are made up of mostly water and this is a fluid, it's highly absorbable so that you're getting 500% more nutraceuticals per dose. We also have this available in our CBD spray as well as a muscle rub with all kinds of botanicals. You're going to absolutely love it.
Check it out, Brainiacs. MatrixMinds.live/CBD. The CBD I use. Feel free again. Feel alive again. And now back to the show.